Democrats may be still moving quietly. Pelosi is quietly working to get Biden off the Democratic ticket, so it's still going on. For Politico, for nearly a decade, Donald Trump unified Democrats and sowed division in his own party. But now, as the GOP convenes to nominate Trump for a third consecutive election, this dynamic has shifted. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is quietly working to remove President Joe Biden from the Democratic ticket after his abysmal debate performance last month. She's moving quietly.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
And it was just last week when Pelosi appeared on MSNBC's Morning Joe.
Does he have your support to be the head of the Democratic ticket?
As long as the president it's up to the president to decide if he is going to run. We're all encouraging him to make that decision because time is running short. I think overwhelming support of the caucus. It's not for me to say. I'm not the head of the caucus anymore, but he's beloved. He is respected, and people want him to make that decision. Not me.
He has said he has made the decision. He has said firmly this week he is going to run. Do you want him to run?
I want him to do whatever he decides to do, and that's the way it is. Whatever he decides, we go with.
So it was an unforgettable interview, an SNL sketch, if you will. Nancy Pelosi speaking to Jonathan Lanier, MSNBC. He said he's going to run. I want him to do what he wants to do, but I'd like him to make a decision. He said he's decided, and we support him making a decision. Blah, 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 blah. Nancy Pelosi. Worth taking a step back to consider this extraordinary moment. Biden's own congressional allies are attempting to oust him from their ticket, and the backstage campaign has been orchestrated in part by the most successful legislator of the era, President's longtime ally, the person he called my Catholic sister. Politico. Pelosi convinced Biden will lose, has been working the phone since June 27th in the hopes of finding a way to ease him off the ticket. One of her colleagues was struck to see her chatting fervently, but openly with Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries last week in a corner of the House Democratic cloakroom in plain sight of a dozen lawmakers. Not even trying to hide it. This is what she's doing. Is she still the minority speaker, by the way? I thought Hakeem Jeffries was, but it seems she's calling the shots. Well, the extent of Pelosi's behind-the-scenes role hasn't been fully revealed, may never be if the former speaker has her way. But Politico has been told by people familiar with the exchanges that she has staged, managed phone calls to Jeffries, plotted strategy with the biggest names in Democratic politics, and told one former elected official bluntly that Biden's legacy cannot be destroying their party. Of course, that was all before the historic events of the weekend. Politico notes the GOP's transformation into the party of Trump was nearly complete after he faced no serious primary challenges. It was cemented, though, in Butler, Pennsylvania, when Trump escaped death and immediately rallied his stunned audience, forging a rare bond with his supporters. This moment positioned Trump to stifle any remaining intra-party dissent. Furthermore, Trump hasn't just taken over the Republican Party, he has also significantly impacted the Democratic Party. Since 2017, Democrats have owned almost most of their electoral success to a backlash against Trump and Trumpism. The former president birthed and bred a seersucker to socialist opposition that endured because enough Bush Republicans, card-carrying DSA members, and Americans in between found consensus on a single issue. President Joe Biden, too, owes his late career success to this coalition. Meanwhile, Democrats hoping that President Biden will drop out of the election race fear their chance of replacing him on the ticket is all but gone in the wake of the assassination attempt on Trump. After 2 weeks of intense media scrutiny around if and when Biden would drop out, attention has now shifted to the attack on Trump at his rally in Pennsylvania and the Republican National Convention. I think this is over, one Democratic aide told Politico. arguing that the news storm weakening Biden had now passed. Daily Beast with that. Axios separately reported that Democratic lawmakers' immediate focus had moved to their personal security and safety of their staffers rather than the party's political crisis. We're all just focused on expressing condolences and keeping our team safe, one House Democrat described as having been fiercely critical of Biden told the outlet. Additionally, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders officially put his foot down against Biden's naysayers in a New York Times op-ed published Saturday. Sanders said he has had enough of his party's public infighting over Biden's viability, and that too many Democrats have joined that circular firing squad. Sanders urged his fellow Democrats learn a lesson from the progressive and centrist forces in France, who, despite profound political differences, came together this week to soundly defeat right-wing extremism. Sanders writes that there are a number of areas in which he disagrees with President Biden, including the handling of the Israel-Gaza war, healthcare too. But despite their disagreements, Sanders writes Biden has been the most effective president in the modern history of our country and is the strongest candidate to defeat Donald Trump. And yes, Sanders wrote, Mr. Biden is old, prone to gaffes, walks stiffly, and had a disastrous debate with Mr. Trump. Yet he added, the presidential election is not an entertainment contest. It does not begin or end with a 90-minute debate. Daily Beast. So Pelosi's up to some things. She's apparently calling the shots here. She is the one who's bringing people together. Is she also talking to the donors, I wonder? Is she coordinating with them? Hakeem Jeffries, is he just the front man? He's talented. I'm just asking. I don't quite know what to make of this. I mean, I know what's being reported, Mayor, but can you weave it all together for us? Give us a broader context?
Yeah, the broader context is Democrats damn sure know how to lose an election. You would have never seen, you would never hear, regardless of how much trouble and lies and dumbness Trump showed in any performance, we never see Republicans show up like this. Let's be clear. First of all, Nancy Pelosi represents the 11th district in California, is absolutely a majority white district in a state where you don't really see that often. Majority white people are 1.3 or 1.4% more likely to be in her district than any other race. And then it's Asian, then it's Latinx, and it's one of the richest districts in this country. She's not speaking on behalf of Americans that are struggling. And Biden made a great point, again, on this interview with Lester Holt last night when he said, 14 million people voted for him. The people that are calling for Biden to step down don't represent the Democratic majority. White people aren't overwhelmingly, actually, the majority of white people don't vote for Democrats. And they haven't since Democrats allowed Black people to be seated at the convention in '68. So this idea that you have these wealthy white people trying to force a candidate that won the Democratic primary and also that is actually basically supported by the Black majority, which is the base of the party, is absolutely disgusting, and it shows what's wrong with our politics. Nancy Pelosi and the likes at CNN will be damn happy if Biden was out of this election. But I promise you, as a Black person who's doing political work and been doing it for 20 plus years, there's no pathway to victory by switching candidates right now on the left side. It's just not gonna happen.
And I trust you, because what you're saying makes sense, by the way. I'd trust you even if I didn't fully understand it. But what you just said makes perfect sense. It's weird, this flip, right? Although I don't believe it's a complete flip, this disenfranchising of voters because you placed whatever candidate you wanted at the front. You rigged it last time against Bernie Sanders. I don't want to go backwards, though. I don't want to moonwalk all the way back there. I'm just saying that we did it your way. We chose what we chose. And now you want to pull the rug out from under that, too. Really? Okay, Bernie Sanders, I think, in this case, has it right. And by the way, someone who's been prone to gaffes their whole political career, 40, 50 years, Joe Biden has been at this thing as young senator who faced tragedy and still came back to the Hill. He's quirky a little bit, right? He's older, things are going on. I mean, Bernie Sanders sat and he had those mittens on, okay? Was that leader-like? It's not an entertainment show. It's about policies and who says what. Something else Isaac Hayes III said, because we had him earlier on this election and everything that's going on. I'm voting against Project 2025. That's what he put on his Instagram. He didn't want to hear anything about which candidates. He's voting in his interest, and that's not in his interest. And maybe we can take a lesson from that. Mayor, I'll give you the last word before we go to break.
Listen, I think that's right. And people can say and feel how they want to about Adjunct Third. That is a powerful statement. Black people and people in general don't and shouldn't be voting for candidates. Personalities are not the reason you should vote. You should be voting for what's at your interest. And for people that are not wealthy and ultra wealthy, and people whose kids are educated by the public school system, and people who have faith in the federal government, you cannot support a candidate where 105 of his fellow or former aides wrote Project 2025. If you are a Black person talking to me about Trump, I want to know what your stance is on Project 2025 and how you plan on educating all the Black kids in your family and those that are to come. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous is right. Let's get it together. But something that you said, I'm going to repeat it again before we go to break. There's no path to victory if you try to do this. There's no path to victory if you try to take him off the ticket.